Once, a young crow named Clara lived in a vibrant countryside, nestled between rolling hills and shimmering rivers. Her feathers were sleek and black, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. Clara had always been quick to notice the beauty and talents of others, but unfortunately, she often felt that she lacked in comparison. One crisp morning, Claire perched on the highest branch of a sycamore tree, watching the bustling life below. A family of robins flitted from branch to branch, their chests glowing a fiery red in the sunlight. Claire sighed and muttered, "Why couldn't I have feathers like that? Everyone admires their brilliant colors. I am just a dull black bird." She fluttered to the riverbank, seeing a swan gliding gracefully across the water. Its snowy white plumage shimmered, and its movements were elegant and serene. Clara tilted her head and groaned, "Why can't I be as graceful as the swan? I am clumsy and awkward in comparison." Claire spent her days this way, hopping from place to place and finding something to envy in every creature she encountered. She envied the sparrows for their cheerful songs, the peacocks for their dazzling tails, and even the squirrels for their ability to climb trees effortlessly. With every comparison, Clara felt a heaviness settle in her heart. She began to avoid her friends and the joyful gatherings of the forest, convinced she wasn't good enough to belong. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of orange and violet, Clara perched alone on a weathered fence. Her head drooped low, and her usually bright eyes were dull with sadness. Not far away, an old owl named Orson observed her from a gnarled oak tree. Orson was known as the wisest creature in the forest and was often sought out for counsel. Seeing Clara's forlorn expression, he flew down and perched beside her. "Why the long face, young one?" Orson asked, his deep voice gentle and kind. Claire hesitated before pouring out her heart. She spoke of the robins, the swans, and the peacocks, expressing how she felt she could never measure up to them. Orson listened patiently, nodding occasionally. When Clara finished, he fell silent momentarily before saying, "Clara, do you know what happens to a bird that spends all her time looking at others?" Clara shook her head. "She forgets to fly," Orson replied. "Tell me, what would the swan say if she compared herself to you?" Clara blinked in surprise. "Why would the swan compare herself to me? She is perfect." Orson chuckled. "Perhaps. But the swan cannot soar through the skies as you can. And the peacock, with all its feathers, cannot caw with the same strength and clarity as you. Every creature has its gifts and challenges. Comparing yourself to others is like trying to measure the wind. It wastes energy and leads nowhere." Orson's words lingered in Clara's mind as she flew back to her nest that night. The following day, she decided to try something different. Instead of focusing on what she lacked, she would look for what made her unique. As she perched on a tall pine tree, Clara noticed a group of sparrows struggling to gather twigs for their nests. The twigs were heavy, and the sparrows could barely lift them. Clara swooped down and used her strong beak to help carry the twigs to their nests. The sparrows chirped their thanks, their voices filled with gratitude. Clara spotted a young rabbit stuck in a thorny bush. Using her sharp claws and beak, she carefully freed the rabbit and hopped away joyfully. With each act of kindness, Clara felt lighter and began to appreciate her own abilities, the strength of her wings, the sharpness of her beak, and the power of her caw. A few weeks later, Claire returned to the fence where she had first spoken to Orson. Her heart felt light, and her eyes sparkled with confidence. "You look happier," Orson observed. "I have stopped comparing myself to others," Claire replied. I am focusing on using my strengths to help others. I feel more like myself than ever. That's the secret, Orson smiled. Happiness comes from embracing who you are. From that day on, Claire no longer envied others. She had discovered the joy of being herself, and the forest echoed with her joyful cause, reminding everyone that true beauty lies in being unapologetically you. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.